From Careco TV, one of the longest-running outdoor programs on television today. Exploring the country and the coast in search of adventures. From the mountains of the Great Northwest to the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. This is Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin. This week on Americana Outdoors, well, we're on Kentucky Lake covering the Bass Pro Shop's Big Bass Bash, presented by Berkley. And later, we're heading over to Lake Whitney in Texas and fishing with Bassmaster Elite Series pros Clark Wendlandt and Frank Talley. First up, it's time for day one of the Big Bass Bash.
Most of the anglers love the Big Bass Bash because it's a one bite. That's all they need, and they're right there in the hunt of everything. It is actually a 2-day tournament. So on day one, we have 4 sessions to weigh in. Every 2 hours they can weigh in. We'll pay out the top 10 of each one. We'll win prizes. On day 2, we'll have 3 sessions. First 2 sessions, they'll win 10 prizes each time. Last session, we'll pay out 20 spots, and then a lot of overalls.
Each of the 4 sessions are presented by a separate sponsor of the event, and anglers have the opportunity to snag incredible sponsor prizes throughout the day by winning a session. Along with the tens of thousands of dollars in prizes and contingencies that are on the line this week, teams are also battling for valuable points towards the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year, presented by Abu Garcia. Here's a recap of the current standings for day 1. Bailey Blesser of McKendree University dominated Session 1 with a 4.55-pound bass. In Session 2, Griffin Fernandez from Adrian College won the top prize with a 3.96-pound bass. Rounding out the 3rd session, Hunter Fillmore of Bethel University edged out his competition with 4.87 pounds. Well, we're seeing some fierce competition going into Session 4. Let's see how the last session of the day pans out.
Biggin. Giant. If it's a bass, it's a giant. He's getting smaller. That's good. Come on. There we go. All right. All right, so we made the move, came back out here offshore. I'd say 2-pounder, felt a little bigger out there. So we've only got about, I'd say 25 minutes left until we have to be in. So we'll stick him in there for a minute, see if we can get another one, maybe a big one.
Okay, we're ready to get the weigh-in going here in this last session presented by Garmin. Oh, that's going to liable to really hurt somebody's feelings right there. How about, I thought it was going to be a 5, 482, 482. All right, and that might have put you in first. Right now, you are leading the 4th session of the day. Do you know what this pays, first place?
Garmin.
Garmin of what?
Live scope.
Live scope, that's right. Worth the wait. What'd you catch it on?
Top water.
That topwater fish nets Levi Mullins the victory in Session 4 and a brand new Garmin Panoptix Live Scope. This makes 2 session victories for Bethel University on day 1, and they hold 1st and 2nd overall Big Bass honors going into day 2 of competition.
I knew it was going to be close because I've been watching the other weigh-ins on the app. Didn't know if it was going to be good or not, but I did.
Now, as we head to break, let's take some time to learn about our host city. And when we come back, we'll jump right back into day 2 action at the Bass Pro Shop's Big Bass Bash.
We are a lake community located right here on the Tennessee River with Kentucky Lake, and if you've been in the area, if you've been in the region, hopefully you've gotten to see our beautiful area, beautiful wildlife. You got to come do it all. You've got to come spend a couple of days. You got to come meet the people because they're special. That's probably the thing that I really want to encourage you to do the most. Obviously, you can go to our website, you can go look anywhere you want to find the list of things to do while you're here, but it's come and meet the people, spend some time with us, and we know you'll fall in love with it.
Before the road trips, the cool mornings,
the hot cast iron, the short nights, and the long cast. There's one stop that you can't afford to miss. It's time to gear up and camp out at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Save on all your camping essentials, in-store and online. Your adventure starts here.
Stetson Blaylock, Todd Otten, Hank Terry, let's go!
Garmin Live Scope, I tell you right now, if you don't have it, you are behind. It's just wild. It's like a video game.
If you do not have that Garmin Live Scope, you are definitely missing out.
Bassmaster Classic Champion!
Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin, is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Garmin, fight your fish, not your fish finder. Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Welcome into Day 2 coverage of the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash. Now before we hit the water, let's take a look at the weigh-in format for Day 2. There'll be a total of 3 sessions, with the first one closing at 9:30 a.m. and the final session ending at 1:30 p.m. Each of the first 2 sessions will pay out the top 10, and the final session of the day will award 20 prizes. During Day 2 of the competition, anglers are only allowed to use Berkley products. This includes hard baits, top waters, soft plastics, as well as trailers used on the back of spinner baits, jigs, and chatterbaits.
So I'm just rigging my A-rig here with Berkley power swimmers here. Yesterday we were catching them on an A-rig off this Paris Bridge here, so I've already caught 2 and they've been munching the power swimmers today.
We're throwing spinnerbait with a little Berkley. I think that's a chigger crawler, just cut it in half, put chigger crawl on the back of it.
I'm throwing a Berkley power worm. That's one of my favorite things to throw, but usually on a 4-inch. Today I'm throwing a 10-inch because I'm trying to get a big bait. And I'm also throwing it on a Revo Rocket. These are one of the best reels I've ever used in my life. Real smooth. Reel's about 41 inches of line and one crank. So that's real good to get your fish in quick.
Leading up to the event, Berkley provided the full field of anglers with a variety of baits and soft plastics to use out in Kentucky Lake this weekend. Those baits included the likes of the Berkley Chapo, Power Swimmer, Hitworm, and Buzzin' Speed Toad. Each of these products are baits that will produce on the Tennessee River during the fall, and anglers are finding a great deal of success. Okay, Day 2 is well underway, and at the end of Session 1, Matthew Cummings of Bethel University is sitting atop of the leaderboard with 4.78 pounds, with Jackson Pontius from University of Montevallo in second with 4.54 pounds. In Session 2, Evan Hill from the University of Tennessee takes first place with 4.07 pounds, and Matt Hamilton from the University of Illinois sits in second place with 3.78 pounds. We're on the water for the third and final session of the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash. Griffin Fernandez from 7th-ranked Adrian College just landed this quality keeper.
It's a big one. I haven't caught one this big out of here in a minute. So, pretty pumped about it. And I know it's been tough, and the fact that fish is over 5 has got me pretty excited, but I mean, we'll see.
After a brief discussion with his teammates in the boat, Griffin made the decision to head back to the scales to weigh in this fish.
They're banking on it being over 5, and I think they're going to be pretty close. It needs to be over 5 to take over the lead for the whole entire event. Let's see what we got. 5:49, new leader of the entire tournament. All right, take it around there and put some water on it. Next up, Dalton Kelly, Murray State. What time of the day did you catch this one?
Right after I weighed in that first one in the first session.
How about a 5:53? 5:53, yes sir. Go get some water on that one. New leader, get right there at that mic. Brand new leader. Y'all put your hands together for him. Awesome job.
Dalton Kelly jumps into the Session 3 lead, as well as the overall leader for the big bass of the event. At 1:30 p.m., Session 3 comes to an end and produces the largest 2 fish of the event. That Kentucky Lake giant nets Dalton over $6,000 in prizes and contingencies.
So we started out this morning throwing cane walkers and choppos, and after I think we caught 2 short fish real quick this morning, my partner did, and we decided we're just gonna stay out here in topwater all day. And this is crazy, the amount of stuff we're getting. I just talked to the guy who went and looked at the Garmin's on the boat. We're getting contingencies. I got like $2,000 worth of Bass Pro gift cards and like another $1,500 from Power Pole. I mean, it's crazy the stuff they're giving out for a college tournament, especially one that's free.
Murray State entered this event with just a 150-point lead over second place in the race for Bass Pro Shop School of the Year, presented by Abu Garcia. Following the conclusion of this event, Murray now leads the closest contender by nearly 500 points.
You know, that's big. We're leading School of the Year right now. We've been on a pretty good roll here the month of September, so I mean, that's good that we got first place finish, and I think we had another guy that had a 4-pounder, so I mean, that's going to give us good School of the Year going on. We're going to keep our feet down and just keep on trucking.
That's a wrap of our coverage of the Bass Pro Shop's Big Bass Bash, presented by Berkley. Coming up, we're heading over to Texas and fishing Lake Whitney with Bassmaster Elite Series pros Clark Wendlandt and Frank Talley.
Groundbreaking designs, unsurpassed quality, and unshakable confidence. Welcome to the Ranger Z500 and Z100 series. Leading the industry for over 50 years, these rigs are custom crafted and loaded with more features and advantages to deliver the ultimate ownership experience. The legendary Ranger Z series. Unleash next level performance.
Yamaha Outboards. Reliability starts here.
From sun up to sundown, day in and day out, we work hard. We play hard. And to keep us going during those long hours, we demand performance. Engel Coolers, the original high-performance cooler. Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin, is brought to you by Engel, the original high-performance cooler. Yamaha Marine, reliability starts here. Sunline, the strength to guarantee your confidence. Hydro Wave, ignite a feeding frenzy. Welcome back to Americana Outdoors. Well, we're now on the water with Clark Wendlandt and fellow Bassmaster Elite Series pro Frank Talley on a chilly Lake Whitney as they share cold water crankbait fishing secrets. As the day starts off, Clark will be throwing a Strike King Pro Model 3XD crankbait, and Frank is throwing a 1.5 square bill as they target rocky banks. With water temperatures in the high 40s and a wind blowing up to 15 miles an hour from the north, today promises to be an educational day on the water.
So Frank, one thing to think about, this time of year is, man, you need some wind. I mean, you need something. If you can get wind, the water can be cold, but they'll still bite you.
Yes, sir, no doubt, because, that puts the odds in our favor. I'm a true believer that, honestly, with a wind on a highland reservoir like this with the clear water, you definitely need wind to get the fish activated.
Not a big one.
No.
But I'll tell you what it is, a start.
It's a start,
That's
yes,
right.
sir.
Well, he's got that. I always love looking at those fish in the winter when they got those black spots on them,
Oh, they're beautiful.
And sometimes they'll just have like tons of them. You just never know what you're going to see, but that's cool.
Yes, sir.
Started it off.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Barely had him. He's got those black markings like all over his tail. Look at that. I just think that's so cool. You see it so much more often in a highland lake for whatever reason. I don't know. That's cool. It was like right when it came off the rocks. It was like the last little bit before it starts coming up to the boat. That's where that fish was. That one was a pretty sluggish bite though. It was like a sock, just got on there.
Loaded up. I gotcha.
But I mean, you'd really expect it. It's 47-degree water temperature, so.
Yeah, no doubt.
God, that water's so pretty.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Seeing them in that clear water like that. Get up here. Not a giant, but barely hooked him.
Real healthy fish.
Yeah, they're healthy. And you know, the thing about it is that every one of them we've caught, we've just barely had them. The one you had him barely. I had that one barely. The one before this had barely. That's a nice chunky fish though. I've had about maybe three or four bites on that 3XD, and that, I mean, maybe that, it'd be interesting to see kind of how it plays out. You know, if we fish for, you know, day and a half, you know, how do we end up catching them the best, and what do we think's the best bait?
Best bait, sure.
So far, that one seemed the best.
No doubt.
As Clark and Frank move locations to fish along another rocky bank on Lake Whitney, let's hear how the new TH Marine Tackle Titan helps Clark keep his baits organized throughout the day.
You know, if you know me very well, you know I'm not a real patient person. Basically, when I cut a bait off, I'm not patient enough to put this bait up in the proper box that it goes in. I used to just cut them off and throw them on the floor, and then at the end of the day, I had tackle everywhere. Well, TH Marine's come out with a Tackle Titan. You look at the Tackle Titan right here, I've got 4 different ones. I've got one on each side because I like the configuration. They work extremely well. They keep the baits. They've got holes in them if you want to hook like a jig or something on there, or maybe like a frog like I've got right there. If I want to take the bait, I just stick it up there. Got the magnet. That magnet holds it all day long. And I know that my stuff's a lot more organized, and then when I got time late in the day, I can stick it all back in the proper box.
Choked it too. Or not
Yeah, he
choked
tried
it,
to get it a little
hook,
better.
yeah.
Maybe it's just getting later in the afternoon and they're just biting.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times finding fish is just, it has to do more with trial and error and just getting out there and winging it. And actually what's happening is it's getting a little bit later in the afternoon. That's kind of what it feels like. Maybe they're just starting to bite just a little bit. I mean, that's what we're hoping. Anyway, we got an hour and a half to fish before it gets dark, and maybe we'll keep catching them at this clip. Now this is really a little bit more what you want to see. You know, we've been talking all day about those fish not really getting the bait that good, but that one, it's pretty deep in his mouth, and that's a lot more what you want to see when you're cranking. A lot of times you can't even tell it's a fish when he bites it like that. Just like all of a sudden there's something heavy, kind of like a sock on there. Good solid fish though.
Nice fish.
That's cool. That was cool.
Good job.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, coming up, with the sun warming the water, Clark and Frank are heading back to the first spot they started at this morning, with the hopes of landing a few more solid fish before the day's end.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories, fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
You know that guy that's always bringing in big ones from offshore? He's got secret lures. That guy that can pull out his spinning rod and start catching them when you can't buy a bite. He's got secret lures. What about that guy that can follow you down the bank and catch what you left behind? He's got secret lures.
Oh, yeah, good one.
If you're ready to be that guy, get your secret lures today at secretlures.com.
You've been waiting all week for this, and Sunline wants to make sure you're ready for it with bulk spools of all your favorite fishing lines.
Oh, it's so fun.
Bulk up with Sunline. Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin, is brought to you by Secret Lures. The secret is out. Outdoor Action TV. Stream your favorite shows. Power Pole. Total boat control. Before we rejoin Clark and Frank back on the water, let's take a look at another tool developed by TH Marine that can come in handy when you find yourself snagged on the bottom.
Sometimes when you get hung, you just can't get it. You know, you can sit there and pop on it and pull on it and get past it. You can try to pop your line and you just can't get it. Well, this is what I use right here. It's a TH Marine money pole. It'll actually get to 21 feet deep. And the cool thing about it is sometimes you can just get it to length, and then like I got it probably extended to, I'm only in probably 10 feet right here. So I just get that thing on the line, and then I just let it go right down the line to where that bait is. I hit the bait, I can feel the fishing line. I got the fishing line off right there. There's the bait. You know, it's an aluminum pole, it's light, it's easy to put back up. Basically one little twist, and I put it right back up, and then I'm back to fishing. He's really still not a giant, though, is he? But it's a good one.
Solid fish, and he's got it choked down.
Oh, get in here.
There you go.
Strike King 3XD, hooked good with one hook, but I mean, there's no question. When we fished this stretch earlier, it took us about an hour and a half. It's a long stretch of bank, but there's no doubt about it, they're biting a lot better right now.
They choked it. Nice.
Yeah, he got it good. God, he got it deep. There we go. Good solid fish.
Nice fish. If this is one, it's a good one.
You got one?
Oh, it's a big one if it's a bass. But I don't think it's a bass.
I think it's a bass. That's a good one. I'm gonna stick mine in the live well while you're fighting that one.
All right. Oh, Clark, he barely hooked.
Well, let me get him. Come on. How you supposed to grab that one, Frank?
I don't know. I hooked him in the...
Like that.
Like that.
Now there you go. That's a good one. There you go. I don't know how you're gonna grab it. Let me unhook him so you can get a hold of him.
Got that Strike King 3XD in his
There he
face.
does. That's a real one there.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. That's cool. Good deal.
I'm glad I got to share the memory with you.
For Clark and Frank, today was all about having an opportunity to learn from one another as friends and fellow elite anglers. By the end of this chilly winter day, Clark and Frank managed to catch an impressive 11 fish in total. And on top of that, what better way to end a successful day of fishing than to reel in that massive blunker of a bass at the end? Way to go, guys. As we wrap up this show, Clark has some closing words on his fishing line of choice when it comes to crankbait fishing.
You know, when you're talking throwing a crankbait, what line do you use? Well, first of all, there's lots of different choices. For me, I've gotten to where my favorite cranking line is Sunline Sniper. And the reason I like Sniper, first of all, it's a fluorocarbon. So the reason I like fluorocarbon for cranking is because that line is a dense line that sinks in the water, and it will cut through the water better than, say, a monofilament will. Monofilament floats, so it'll actually hold your bait up just a little bit. I want my bait to get down to the maximum level that it can actually get to based on the bait that I'm throwing. And so I feel like with Sniper, I'm gonna get there. I know the line, I know how it reacts in different situations because I use it for every situation. My key sizes that I use for cranking are 12, 14, 16. I might even crank 20 with a square bill and heavy cover. So it just depends on the situation that I'm in. I'm always gonna use Sniper. The thing about it is I've got confidence in that line. I know the bait's gonna get as deep as it can get. Sunline Sniper for cranking is my favorite.
Hey, thank you for watching, and join us next week on a new episode of Americana Outdoors. Americana Outdoors is a Careco TV production.
I got my power pole down, stuck in the mud in the bottom of the lake, sitting so still in the wind and the waves, could even be a hurricane. I got my power pole down.
You know, when I look at the tournaments I've won, probably 4 or 5 of the boats that I've won have been on a tube. But I'd completely gotten away from flipping a tube because nobody made one soft enough.
Big Bite has come with this new tour series of baits. The thing that's probably the most unique is when you look at that bait, the salt just rolls out of it. And to me, that is the reason a fish bites a tube and hangs on to it. This isn't one of those let's go out and catch some smallmouth tube. This is a let's get it done tube.